Jacksonville, Florida, a retired FBI agent and a former Miami cop. I wanted to bring something to your attention that few people really know about, and it's called BJAM. No, it's not called BJAM, but this is the way it's pronounced. It's pronounced key tam, like BJAM. What is that? Well, it's an interesting legal term that means I stand in the place of the king when I sue somebody to recover for the crown. Now, that's an old British term, really. This is the Whistleblowers statute. And I want to tell you how you personally can make money in a recovery against a company, a manufacturing company, a business, a government entity, a hospital, pretty much anyone. Here's how it works, okay? Let's say I am building this table under contract for the government. And I have a contract with them to build this table for the cost of my materials plus 20%. Just say this, and I'll give you a couple of examples so you can kind of follow along. This wood, this is solid wood, let's say it cost me $75, okay, to buy this piece of wood. Remember, it's a cost plus contract. So I put that $75 into my contract, I get 25% above that, that's how I make my profit. But let's just say I decide that I want some OCB board, okay? I want something that's cheap, and I'm gonna make it look this good, but it's gonna be a piece of garbage when it comes to its durability, and it deviates from my contractual arrangement with the government. So I use this little board, this particle board as it's called, and I use it to produce this, and it only cost me $5 a board, not $75. But I don't tell the government I'm doing that, so $70 goes into my pocket for every time I give them a table, because I'm making that money plus my 25%. So here's another example. Bulk fuel is sold to the U.S. Navy, and oftentimes that bulk fuel, which is called bunker fuel, is transported in barges. And so these barges would come up and fill the Navy ships with bunker fuel, and that fuel was used to heat turbines and run the ships. Well, what if they don't pump all of the bunker fuel out into the ship, but they claim they did, and they take the rest of that and sell it for fuel oil here in Jacksonville? That's stealing from the government. That is a key tam case. It is a whistleblower case. So let's just say you work for the barge company and you see them doing this. You call an attorney who handles these kinds of cases, and we're one of those firms, and you report that. You get a percentage up to actually 30% of a recovery for that bulk fuel, and this can run into hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. So this happens when false services are claimed by hospitals. They weren't actually performed, but they were billed to Medicare and Medicaid. It's fraud, but it's a way that you, because you have inside information, you're watching this go on. You know, another example would be you're building something for the government, a roadway, and instead of using 5,000 pounds per square inch concrete, you're only using 2,500 pounds per square inch concrete. It's less expensive. The government's not going to be able to look at it and know the difference, but that savings goes right to the contractor again, and that contractor is making more money because they have undervalued or underutilized the resource of concrete so that they can make a higher profit. It's an interesting way for citizens who are in these industries to look at what their bosses and supervisors are doing, and you know that they're not doing something. It's fishy. When they start talking about it, they go behind a closed door. Those are the kinds of things that tell you something odd's going on. Those are the kind of cases that a good, competent law firm like ours can investigate, look into, and determine whether or not you have a potential case. Because if you can testify or provide information, number one, we can make it anonymous. There are specific provisions. Under whistleblower, you can't be hurt by your employer, because that is an exception that allows you to make additional recoveries. But Qui Tem is making sure that the government isn't losing money to unscrupulous, let's face it, crooks. So that's odd for a defense firm to say, find the bad guys, because ordinarily you would think we would represent the bad guys. But of course, most law firms are fairly diversified. And if you know of somebody doing the government wrong, they're stealing, they're doing something that's inappropriate, pick up the phone and call us. You got nothing to lose. When you talk to a lawyer like myself, everything's done in confidence. I can't reveal anything you say without your expressed authorization. And I wouldn't do that anyway. But I'd like to hear from you all out there in the city, what's going on? Are there people stealing things from the city of Jacksonville that they shouldn't be stealing? Particularly where there's government, U.S. government funding going into that project? That's something that it may seem pretty minor to you, and it may only mean $100 a pop, but think $100 a pop for the bad guys repeated 1,000 times. Suddenly, that's a bunch of money, and if you're the person who blows the whistle on it, you're the person who can make a significant recovery. Doesn't require you to do anything except be honest and straightforward and discuss what it is that you know that nobody else does. And I know for an utter fact in Jacksonville, there have got to be things like this going on. We don't see them in the news. We don't see them because they're hidden. And that's how fraud works. People don't know what's going on until years later and the statute of limitations is run, and then you can't prosecute them. But you know things, I have little doubt, about illegal activity that's going on by these folks. You just didn't have a mechanism or somebody to call. You don't want to seem foolish when you call and report your neighbor stealing water from the person next door. But of course, it gets down to things that minor that can cost the government millions upon millions of dollars. So if you have anything like this has happened in your world, pick up the phone, call us. It just takes a minute for us to listen to what you have to say. You may have something, you may not. We're certainly not going to embarrass you, because it's a way for us to stay making a living as well. I look forward to chatting with you if you have thoughts about this. One other point I wanted to mention, I was looking through the law today and I saw something funny I thought you might like. Did you know that under Florida law 316.060, if you're repairing a car and there's a bullet hole in it, you got to report that to the police, and if you don't, you are guilty of a misdemeanor. Know your rights, know the law, and stay safe. Look forward to chatting with you. www.dalecarsonlaw.com, or you can get us on the phone, 904-355-6777. Look forward to hearing from you.